Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and a new Dragons Dogma video. Today I'm talking about more useful and interesting things you might not have known. Anything from mechanical tricks and tips to strange or interesting facts about the game. With that said though, let's just get started. Alright, so to kick us off with our first thing for today's episode, I'm standing here next to an open cart. You will find these as a rarer cart type in the world, and as you can see it's just got a pile of hay in the back, which means yes, you can do what you might hope you can do. By coming up onto this rock that overlooks the actual spot, you can see that this just feels, well, rather intentionally placed. And what's kind of neat about this is that it's actually very near to the nameless village, which is obviously the thief village. So let's give it a try, and hopefully I won't mess this up first try. I'm just going to get a full sprint and jump. I'm just going to hold it the whole way as I do sort of lose momentum, and there you go. No fall damage at all. It's just very obviously placed. And it's a pretty cool feature because fall damage is pretty annoying in this game. It's just a shame that there's only a couple locations where you can find these, though there are some open ones that move around in the world. But did you know by landing on cloth canvases like this, you also take no fall damage? It completely stops it. Obviously, that really changes things because there are only two known locations, at least to me, for these carts. You have this one by the nameless village, but then we have one in Vernworth. There's a side quest with Wilhelmina where she actually tries to escape and uses one of those, and you know, it's obviously shown to you that it's possible. The fact that you can also do it on these canvases though does change some things because you will find them in towns, and it can be a quick way to get down, which is pretty neat and just a fun little addition and a thing I didn't know until very recently. Next up, we have another neat, interesting detail. So obviously I'm playing an archer right now, or at least I'm in an archer vocation. This guy is just in the way. Let's just get rid of him. Goodbye. Thank you. Okay, so now that guy's dealt with, we can see that I can draw my bow. I'm ready to go. My hands are free. I'm able to draw back the string and fire a shot as normal as expected. This archer outfit basically accommodates for that. Let's now change back to thief, or well, any relevant vocation. And when I do that, I'll swap my armor. There's a few armor sets like the Marcher's armor you get very early in Vernworth that, you know, you can use as any vocation, which is neat. Looks like a cool knight or warrior. If we take a look at how this set looks, it's just a neat armored knight warrior, no problem. But as anyone can use this armor, technically some mechanics about it need to change to accommodate for that. So let's swap back to archer, and then let's equip that same set that we're wearing as the thief, the Marcher set. And you can see there's one subtle difference that's happened here. One of the gauntlets, the gloves on my right hand, has been removed. And instead I'm wearing this kind of metal vambrace on that arm. So when I draw the actual weapon, you can see that it leaves my hand free so that it's flexible and ready to go. When I fire the arrow, I'm able to pull back. And that's an important detail. We would have all been fine if he was using a gauntlet and no one would have noticed or cared. It's just interesting to see that armor sets actually change in subtle ways based on what vocation you're actually using to allow for that little bit of realism in this magic world. It's just the subtle little details that I just really admire about this game. Something as simple as the way that a fighter holds his sword, holding the handle like that, something just feels so good about it. The animations of this game, absolutely incredible. It's just nice to appreciate them for a thing in this video. Alright, next up we have a movement-based topic. We talked about this in the first episode with a couple interesting movement options you have for, say, the warrior and the thief, but now we're talking about Mystic Spearhand, which has some really cool stuff. When I was looking at the Reddit today, I found this really cool post by user 105 Will talking about a Mystic Spear movement tech with two abilities. There's Dragon's Foin and there's Sky Dragon's Fest. So let's talk about the mechanics of this. So obviously you have your blast, right? We can hold this and charge it up and then you can send it off. If you charge this up and do it mid-air, something interesting happens. You jump and then it kind of holds you in place for a second. If we look at this from a side perspective, I'll jump forward and do it, and it kind of pushes me backwards a little bit. So that's kind of the basis of this. Now what's important about that is it's an interrupt. It will interrupt your momentum. It will hold you in place. So if I were to use Foin to jump up, what I can do is let go of this redoubled bolt that's charged up mid-Foin while I'm in the air to hold myself in the air. This gives me a little bit of hang time. The idea then is to use it to get some verticality. So I can jump up in the air and use it to kind of go backwards. So let's jump up, let go, and then I can turn around and grab this ledge, giving me some vertical movement that I otherwise just don't have. So let's now talk about the next part, which is Dragon's Foin. When you use this, you can kind of free aim it and send yourself up a little bit. That's fine, but in combination with the actual leap upwards from Fest, you can get that movement forward and then a leap upwards. If we combine that whole concept with the ability to interrupt what you're doing, we could prep that bolt, dash forward, dash up, and then let go of the bolt to hang tight. So let's extend this for a really good example of where you can maximize this. We're going to channel a bolt To prepare that, we're going to leap up and interrupt that to then dash forward, dash up, and then let go of another bolt at that highest point. So we're going to channel up a bolt, jump up, let that go, start channeling the next, dash forward, leap up, interrupt that while in the air, and yeah, that's how you do it. Which means I can technically, with this trick, get to the top of that pillar, which is well beyond the normal capacity of a Mystic Spearhand, but also a lot of other vocations can't get that amount of verticality. So if we break down that clip from Reddit from 105 Will, the one that's discovered this actual movement technique to my knowledge, you can see how they channel up a bolt and jump up into the air, let that bolt go, begin channeling another, dash forward, jump up, let go the second bolt, pushing themselves back towards the pillar, which allows them to climb to the top. It's a pretty insane combo, and obviously some seriously impressive vertical movement for a vocation that doesn't immediately seem to have something like that. It's higher than the other vocations can even get. It's really cool to see. Now, to follow on from the Mystic Spearhand cool jump technique stuff, we obviously have the Thief, which I talked about in the first episode. To quickly recap that, you can extend your actual jump by jumping and using Concussive Leap while you're in the air. What this does is it gives you a little bit of a boost for slightly more airtime and actually a bit more verticality for climbing. If you combine this with your split or spin of whatever kind you've got, this will also give you a little bit more airtime and a bit more verticality. But obviously what it does is it forces you to spin downwards, so you have less control of yourself. So you want to do that right at the end for that last bump, and this allows for a little bit, like I say, a bit more verticality, but usually want to do this as you're about to land on a ledge if you're using it for climbing purposes. Still, the higher up you are when you actually use the splitter, the more damage you do because, you know, the longer spin. So it's still a good thing. But what I've recently learned is that if you do a powder blast, you can actually extend your air time even more. So what you do is you place the blast on the ground and then you go for the jump and then use the blast while you're in the air, and you see how I kind of glide through the air for a second. So let's place that on the ground, do the leap, do the blast, do the spin, and you see how I'm actually in the air for a really long time. This extra addition isn't necessarily more vertical, but you can see how it's way more horizontal. It's way more distance for the jump. So if I want to climb up to this ledge, well, I don't need to go this hard because it's fine, but you can see how I'm floating through the air. Let's get a little bit higher. I want to get up to that ledge, so let's do a quick combination. We jump, we blast, and I'm already up there. I don't even need to spin. This should be a pretty good example. We have a pretty big gap here that I need to get over to this hill. So let's place the blast on the ground. We're going to go for it. Jump, concussive leap, blast, helm splitter spin, and wow, the distance that you make, it's pretty incredible for traversal. This is just like the peak Thief movement you can do, and for climbing around and reaching stuff, it's just so nice. We can't all levitate, we're not all casters, so it's just pretty cool to be able to do this, and I figured I should definitely update it with that little addition because, as you can see, it is pretty impactful for moving around. Speaking of interesting movement techniques though, I'm here in battahl on an early save. I wanted to do this on an early save so you can see that I've definitely not been down here before. I've not taken this route, the door's not open, I definitely don't have the sword. It's too early in the game. But here we are at the door anyway, and it is impassable. Hopefully this can help you on a new save or new game plus or something. Basically get to that area much easier. Now the issue with the door is obviously that it's impassable. I can't open it. You can kind of like look through it on the other side and try and force your way through and glitch through. In fact, there's this really clunky, weird technique that I've seen by the Reddit user Competitive Snow. They posted this little video of themselves pressing against the door, looking up and down, wearing different outfits, trying to call for help at the same time, using swift step dash, and ended up kind of glitching through the door. Now I went there and tried that for a while and it's very inconsistent. It's interesting that you can do that, and if you guys understand this and find a consistent way to abuse that bug to make this easier, then let me know. But there is an easier way. Technically, the quote-unquote hitbox or unpassable terrain of this door a little bit over the height of, say, twice my own height. So if you can get above that to where, say, the blue symbol is, or roughly about that, you kind of get over the physical door and glitch straight through. Now, a few vocations can do that. Mystic Spearhand, the casters like Mage and Sorcerer, they can levitate. Even a Thief has the ability to press itself into a wall like so and jump off of it. So in this location, you can press into it, jump back, press into the next pillar, and kind of make your way up. It's a little bit awkward and inconsistent, like the wall jump passive of Thief just generally is, but you absolutely can do this, so let me just do it until I get it. As you can see, as I'm jumping up, what you have to do is let yourself hit the wall, collide so your hands touch the wall, then you can jump back the other way. You can do this in any area where there's a surface close enough to one another that is also flat enough for your character to kind of slam into it and put their hands against the wall, which allows the back jump. Obviously, this is a core skill of the Thief, so you can do it just as a thief once you've got that unlocked, but this is going to be one of the hardest ways to do it possible. There are clearly easier ways. But yeah, absolutely nothing is stopping me from running down this passage, and hopefully that proves to you that it is basically just the lower side of the door that actually has a hitbox and non-passable terrain. Much like anything, it's not like the pawns can't follow you. Once you hit to me, once you're far away from them, they just kind of teleport to you. So to showcase this a little bit better, I've just gone ahead and leveled a mage, which is caster, so that I have the passive of levitate. But we can completely avoid that hitbox by making use of mobility. So with a mage or a sorcerer, once you've got levitate, you can just pass by that blue sigil, the top side, where there is no hitbox on that wall at all. And it really is just that simple. And now we can be on our way to the volcanic island as soon as you want in a new playthrough on New Game Plus. There are loads of ways, as we discussed in this video, from mobility to get extra verticality and to bypass that wall specifically. So it's a very nice trick, and I hope they leave it in the game. Next up, just a quick one. Did you know that one day in Dragons Dogma 2 is 48 real-time minutes? Yeah, I didn't know that specific number, and it turns out that's been proven by a tooltip in the loading screens. I don't really see these that often because usually I load through them pretty quick, so I just rarely ever get to have a real look at them, and it's a nice detail to know. So I now know that if I want to avoid the night, I might have, say, 20-ish minutes before it hits if I'm halfway through the day. When traveling, I just try to avoid the night because bubbling around in the dark can be very irritating if I'm not specifically hunting something. So it's just good to know the exact time and how long. One day is 48 minutes. But there you have it. That's a new roster of interesting and useful things to know. Once again, if you guys have anything that would fit into this theme or anything you'd add to the things we talked about today, then let us know in the comments. We might just include it in a video. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.